Cocktail Hour Cinema, talking drinks and cinema. We watch and eat some dinner, but we don't show you the dinner. It's Cocktail Hour Cinema.
Cheers, everyone, and welcome to Cocktail Hour Cinema. My name is Brent.
I am Nico.
And I'm Emily.
And we are a weekly video podcast
It's
that
that
talks
good.
about movies, movie news, TV shows, whatever the hell we feel like talking about. And every week, our beautiful Emily makes us a themed cocktail that goes perfectly
Right?
with whatever it is
Really
we're
good.
talking about, which today is
Matrix
Resurrections.
Resurrections. Emily, you want to tell us about the drink?
Well, first, let's give a little rundown of the movie.
Run down the movie.
Let's give a little rundown of the movie.
Let's give a little rundown of the movie. Do you want to give the rundown of the movie? I was confused a lot of the movie.
Okay.
I enjoyed the hell out of
Actually,
this, but I was confused.
I was hoping you'd have this one nailed down because it was a little confusing.
You're
at
the
first.
big Matrix fanatic out of the three
Yeah.
of us.
I do love the Matrix, but however, okay,
We just saw the movie right before.
Well,
we
it's
filmed
weird
this.
to give a synopsis of it because there's I guess you don't learn enough about the movie from the beginning until later on. So
Yeah.
Neo has died in real life, but then he got resurrected by the machines
Mhm.
because they need the power to run all their shit instead of the human farms they have. They figured out that Trinity and Neo together create more power than entire farms of people, but they have to be just so close to each other, not too far away, and their connection and their love between each other and their
close enough
chemistry.
that they can feed off the connection,
Right.
but not
Yeah.
so close that they touch and develop that remembrance of their
exactly
person's past.
right. And so this whole story was this reawakening for Neo, and also this meta dump.
Yeah.
basically.
We'll talk about the first act. I think it was my
but
favorite
that's
part.
basically
That's
it.
basically
How about
yeah,
that?
it's basically
Okay.
it. So
Proud of myself for that one. My brain was like,
Digital rains. from
Yeah.
it.
digital rain.
speaking of digital rain, that's what this week's cocktail is called.
Nice transition, Emily.
So when I think of The Matrix, I think of the late 90s because it came out in 1999. And when I think of the late 90s, I think of neon, shitty vodka-based cocktails. So I wanted to do something that was referential to the 90s, but maybe a little bit more elevated. So this has your classic neon green apple pucker for that lovely flavor, but then it's balanced out by this liqueur called Chareau. It's an aloe liqueur. It adds this wonderful freshness, almost a rain flavor, if you will. But yeah, I was really happy. Also, this is kind of a reverse engineering of a cocktail I had in Vegas that I have not stopped thinking about since.
Vegas.
Yeah. Was that the Meow Wolf Omega Mart? It's called the Apple Juice there.
This
Didn't
tastes like
quite nail it, but I still really like the way that this turned out.
Tastes like a sour otter pop, maybe.
Yeah, kind of
You know what
Jolly
I mean?
Rancher vibes.
Yeah, totally. It tastes like candy.
It's like if
really
you had
good.
Jolly Ranchers and then you chewed a little bit of gum right after. 'Cause it's got
Yeah, like a winter fresh.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like a Skittle and a winter fresh
The-
gum
it's
together.
It's even got a little bit of a pickleback
yeah.
taste to me, which I think is kind of weird.
I think
That's
your
weird.
tongue's
It's like-
broken.
I just,
Yeah,
I think it's
I-
color association in my brain. It doesn't even make any sense. But
You also try it at home. This is really good.
Yeah. Get your
Yeah.
hands on some Chareau. I'm going to be using this in a lot of cocktails
Yes.
come springtime because it's so lovely.
All right, The Matrix.
Matrix.
Okay, let's talk about it. Thoughts and opinions, Brent, not just fun facts.
I don't know if I'll just say this to blanket statement. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good.
Okay.
I was a little disappointed. I don't know whether I put the echelon too high for this film.
Yeah.
Maybe I just hyped it up too much in my own brain. The
trailers
trailer for
were
it is
great.
so good.
Yeah,
The
I
trailer,
know,
it's
I
one of the
know.
best trailers of the year.
I did
Yeah,
appreciate
so.
that they still used that song
Me too.
in the
I love that
movie.
Yeah.
They used the song, yeah.
And I really liked all the callbacks. I liked how they pretty much broke the fourth wall in a bunch of different moments, especially in Act
every
1.
Oh, it was
5
meta
minutes.
as
Yeah,
hell.
it was meta as hell. And then I just loved how there's all these really cool callbacks. I like how they brought back different characters as other people. I thought I liked a lot.
That's a great
of
way
it.
to do it if the actors just couldn't make it. Yeah.
I liked a lot of it. The very end felt a little
It was a little
abrupt?
odd, right? Yeah, it was abrupt
and
for
kind
me
of
as well.
not very satisfying.
Mm.
It's kind of
Okay.
okay, they wrapped up the story nicely, I guess.
I'm with you on the ending. Preface. I have never seen the 2 sequels for The Matrix. I wasn't allowed to watch The Matrix when it came out. I was 6, so I didn't see it until college.
God, I feel old.
Yeah, you are old.
Oh no.
I'm young still.
Okay, you're 30.
I'm still the baby. I will always be the baby.
Yeah. Not
No,
that much
you're
older than
ancient and
us.
decrepit, and
Okay.
I am youthful.
And I am youthful.
But yeah, and I never saw Revolutions and Reloaded because everyone bitched about them constantly. So I was like, well, why would I waste the time to watch them?
Reloaded is better than Revolutions. Okay.
Which one's which?
Reloaded is the second one.
Second,
Okay.
yeah.
Revolutions is the third one.
Yeah, I all I ever heard was people bitching about it. So I was like, oh, well, I just won't waste my time on that one.
Okay.
I did, however, on the way to the theater, watch 2 different YouTube videos of a little like catch up, just so I had
Good
some
call.
of the context.
That is a good call. Did that
which I
help?
think, yeah, I think it did help.
Okay.
Yeah. Because it kind of filled in like, oh, why are they where they are?
Mm.
The main thing I really loved about this film was fucking Neo and Trinity's relationship. I felt it.
I wish there
for
was
real.
more of it. Honestly, there wasn't a lot of screen time with them together. If you actually like probably add it up, it's probably like
But
15 minutes.
the moments where they were together, it was like
Mhm.
actual chemistry, and it felt
was.
really
Yeah.
fucking real.
Yeah.
There was a lot of I really liked because they kind of made it almost like an origin story, even though it's this
Jesus.
technically it's the 7th iteration of the Matrix. If you go by the details of the storyline, it's the 7th iteration of like a version
You
of
counting
the
like the
Matrix.
animatrix and stuff.
Yeah, I just from the shit that I was reading about today, they basically were like, okay, well, this is the 7th time they recreated the Matrix. I'm like,
Yeah.
7?
Oh, the 7th time the Matrix,
The Matrix
has been created.
like
yeah.
been
Right,
they've
right.
created
That
a
was
new
in the video
storyline.
I watched.
Yeah. That was in
But
Revolutions.
This had so much heart to it compared to either of the sequels, I guess. I think
Okay.
since the first movie. I don't know. You're
Agree.
the Matrix aficionado out of the 3 of us.
The Matrix 1 was a huge part of my upbringing.
Yeah, you were
Hot take.
Nico was
I
really
loved
into the Matrix.
Yeah, 1999, 2000. I had that film on VHS, and I repeated that
I'm sure that's true for
most
producer
of my middle
too.
school years. Yeah,
We saw it in
But,
theaters together, right?
maybe. I remember seeing Reloaded with you,
Mhm.
and I saw it 8 times in the theaters.
Jesus
and
Christ.
that was one of the first movies that like I rewatched it a bunch.
Some people liked it.
I
Clearly.
liked Reloaded, and then like anyway, this movie it felt like it wasn't directed by a Wachowski. It felt like if Christopher Nolan picked up a Pulp Fiction script and directed that, you're like, oh, this is like a different vision than what the Matrix used to be.
I don't think I agree with that, but go
Yeah.
for it. Yeah.
It felt different to me too.
To me, it felt like a different idea of what the Matrix was or is, and that's what caught me off guard. It felt very different from the other ones.
Yeah.
I thought it was refreshing, but it felt like it wasn't Wachowski that directed this. I felt like it was someone else that directed this, and which is weird because like, you know, the Matrix is known for their action scenes, and the action kind of fell flat for some parts for me. Lana Wachowski directed most of all the action scenes in this. In the first 2 sequels, they had second unit directors, so they
Gotcha.
had other people directing that. So it's weird that like this felt so different.
Do you know if it was the same fighting coordinator, like choreographer?
From what I understand, like the entire team is different. Like
Mm.
Bill Pope, the cinematographer, didn't do this one. He did Shang-Chi instead.
He's busy.
Yeah, he's a busy guy. But yeah, it just felt different to me. And I really enjoyed the movie though. I'll say that. I really liked the movie. It just didn't feel like a Matrix movie. It felt like someone else rebooted it and put in Keanu Reeves and Carrie Ann
This
Moss.
is purely like just speculation on my part. I kind of like that it felt so different, especially that first act was like, whoa, what are we doing here? This
Yeah.
is so wild. But I feel like only someone who is that connected to the Matrix series could successfully divert that easily. Because like if a different director came in and diverted that far, it'd be like, whoa, what the fuck are you doing? But because it's like, oh, this is Lana's baby, like she can do whatever the fuck she wants with it.
Right.
And she can add in all those like the bits about like, oh, our overlords Warner Brothers and we got to make Matrix 4
Yeah.
and shit
Yeah.
like that.
It's funny, like the meta part about this movie, like they really went all in on the meta.
They
it
did.
was
like,
really funny.
They didn't
was
dip their
great.
toes in the meta. They're like, if we're gonna go meta, let's go fucking all in.
Oh.
They
Yeah.
reference Warner Brothers.
I'm surprised
Yeah.
Warner Brothers let them get away with that. Like, it was-
Same.
I mean, it's like yeah, you're saying a negative thing, but it's also like obviously the audience knows that it's bullshit because it's a fictional plot, but also like it's just giving Warner Brothers a little shout out. It's like saying their name
They
in an epic
use
movie.
the original footage of the movie in the movie.
A lot of it.
A lot of it.
And
Yeah.
Keanu was watching The Matrix 1
Yeah.
in this. And also, shout out to the Castro Theater where they had the premiere. That was the Castro Theater was in the movie. That's where
Oh, is
Keanu
that-
took
is
the
that
red
the-
pill and
oh my
like he saw
God.
himself. So imagine being at the theater, at the premiere in the Castro Theater, watching the Castro Theater in this meta thing. It's
That's
like I'm
pretty
watching.
sick.
It's pretty dope, and I think that's why Lana Wachowski they picked the Castro Theater for the premiere in San Francisco.
Yeah. Also
pretty
because they
wild.
shot so much of this in San Francisco.
They
and,
did.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've seen either of the 3 prequels to it, but is it just me or was there a lot more
prequels.
levity in this movie compared to the original?
Yes, I think
A lot more.
definitely.
A
Yeah,
lot
yeah.
more.
There was it felt so much lighter. There was like way more laughs in it. Like it's nice to have the levity to balance out the brevity because there's so much like heavy dialogue and like plot and like heavy plot that goes into it.
Brevity, that's not what brevity means.
Brevity is like an exacting word of phrase. Like exacting
No,
way
brevity is like a shortness of words.
Not a
Brevity,
short-
brevity
not a
is
shortness,
No,
an
brevity,
exactness.
brevity is quickness.
I
Okay.
will. Yeah, an exact use of words. That's exactly how I used it. Thank you very much.
I
Take a shot.
apologize.
Like,
Yep.
God damn it.
I will.
Oh,
Oh no.
two to you. What you got? What you got? What
Black
you got? What
pepper
you got?
vodka.
I was gonna say, like Lana, you okay over there?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay.
It's just spicy.
Lana was saying
That's
that
what you
she wanted a broader spectrum of emotions in this movie compared to the first 3. She wanted comedy, she wanted like lightness, she wanted like heart and all this stuff. She wanted to expand the spectrum of emotion in this movie because the first 3 pretty serious movies
Yeah.
all the way around, almost like singular tones in a certain way. This one she wanted to be more colorful and more expanded in different degrees, and it showed, in my opinion. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it really that served Neo and Trinity's relationship because they got to show more emotions than just I am a stoic hero kind of thing.
Right.
Like gun, shooty, flippy, whatever. Like they got to have more emotion and it like the relationship
Yeah.
felt more real to me after that.
The gun porn in this was pretty good too. It wasn't as great as the first Matrix.
I don't like the image that conjured up in my brain. I really don't like that at all.
Gun porn is a term. Ryan knows it. Like the first Matrix almost invented gun porn.
Oh,
with, like,
absolutely.
the aisles of guns and they're just picking it out like in a candy shop, and then they go in and they just blast a bunch of motherfuckers. Great scene. It also
Doesn't
inspired
age well.
Columbine. I know it wasn't.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
It's true.
It's like a
The
dark
first
tone.
Matrix, they watched the Matrix before they did the Columbine
Oh,
shooting, and they
God.
dress exactly like Neo.
Oh,
and
God.
Trinity.
Yikes.
Anyway,
Like I said, doesn't age well.
in the along the lines of like tone, I thought it was interesting that in the first Matrix, like whenever they were in the Matrix, there was like a green tone that they put over to kind of represent the fact that you're in the Matrix. And then when you were in the real world, it was white. When you were in this like middle land where he was training with Morpheus, it was yellow. It was like they gave you like a visual clue as to like where everything was taking place.
Bill
This
Pope.
movie did not have that.
No.
I thought that was interesting. Maybe it's just because it's a new Matrix.
Yeah, I was
It's
gonna
a
say I
new-
think it's because it's the
just a
new
different
Matrix.
place.
I also
But-
think it's the cinematographer's job to kind of pick tones and styles. I mean, they collaborate with the director a lot, but I could tell visually it was different because Bill Pope wasn't involved in this at all. And I think a lot of those visual ideas maybe came from him. I'm not saying it was, but like you could tell that this had a different color palette, like 100%, you just said,
Yeah.
than everything else. And you could chalk it up to saying like, hey, it's because it's a new program, but also when they went to the real world, that color palette still remained the same. It was still very bright and vibrant, very like
I
colorful.
mean, it wasn't that. I wouldn't say it was that bright, but it definitely was more colorful.
Right.
Yeah. It wasn't tinted a weird.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say they didn't
type
have a
shade.
like a color like this is you can visually tell you're in a different world.
Yeah, I mean,
Like the first Matrix did.
like I said, like I think the differences are what's going to make this movie stand the test of time a little bit more rather than being like, oh, they just did a lot of the same shit. Like Matrix is 20 years old now. If they went back and were like, we're going to do the same shit that we did before, it's like a lot of these remakes and reboots. They're like, you like this thing? Remember this thing that you like? We did it
Right.
again. So I like that they brought some
okay.
some freshness. Like they brought enough back, but it doesn't look like, oh, you just like copied and pasted the
Right.
movie and like did something different.
Visually, you're 100% correct. But
Yeah.
they literally brought everything back and the
Yeah,
entire
yeah.
opening scene is a cut and paste copy
Yeah.
from the first movie, except they had obviously bugs. Or
Bugs.
bugs, right? Yeah,
I like
they had
bugs.
bugs like
like bugs
looking
too.
on and kind of like literally in a fourth wall.
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah,
like
totally.
looking in on a scene. Yeah, I mean, look, I really did enjoy the movie. I had smiles on my face. You know, that's a good tell for me. If I'm smiling while watching a movie, I'm liking it. Sometimes I get like pick up on it. I'm like, oh, I'm liking this movie. I'm smiling.
Oh, I feel like I'm smiling.
The smile
I'm
happens
smiling.
before you register
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I have a habit of when I'm watching a movie, I'll my face will contort to whatever is happening like with the main actor in the scene.
Mm.
Like if the actor's really sad, I'll start like being sad. If the actor's like really happy, I'll just start. And I don't know what the fuck it is. Like I don't know if it's just I wanted to be an actor really bad when I was young.
Right.
Was into improv and like imitating and like always trying to like put myself into the scene and think of like how I would have acted it
I
out.
think that's-
Trust
I
us, we
guess
know
I
you like to do
still-
impressions.
Yeah, I was like, I think that's the case.
I guess
man.
I just still like do that subconsciously even now,
Uh.
like years later when I watch it, because I catch myself doing that all the fucking time.
Even sad scenes, I'm smiling because I'm like, because I like what
Yeah,
I'm
when-
seeing.
so good. It's
when
such a
Aunt
well
May
done
died
scene.
in Spider-Man, you were just so
Oh
excited.
man, this is great! What a great storytelling.
So there were a number of people that they wanted to cast before Keanu Reeves as Neo. Do you guys know who any of those people were?
I know one was Will Smith.
That was their
Yeah.
first choice.
Yeah, he turned it down for Wild Wild West.
You know who their second choice
And
was?
hold on, he says that is his like worst regret of his career
Oh,
is
yeah.
turning down The Matrix.
He had enough big hits. He's fine. He could spread
Yeah,
the
he had
spread the
MIB,
wealth.
but
Yeah.
then his career did kind of take a weird tumble after that. So
Well, also to go before I reveal the rest, Trinity was supposed to be Janet Jackson, and,
Oh, I'm
and Janet
so glad that
Jackson.
didn't- Can she act?
It would have been
I
Will
don't
Smith.
think she can act.
It would have been Will Smith and Janet Jackson as Neo and Trinity.
oh, interesting.
But she turned it down because of scheduling conflicts. And then she said again
What was
later,
she doing?
it was a huge regret for her, probably touring.
Oh, okay.
But it was a huge regret that
Yeah,
she
the late
didn't- she
90s,
wasn't
Janet
able
Jackson
to
was
do it.
touring like
Right.
a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, it was Will Smith. Then they went for Nicolas Cage. He turned it down. Then they went for
All the 90s stars.
Then they went for Brad Pitt. He turned it down.
Yeah.
Val Kilmer. He turned it down.
oh wow.
And then
Brad Pitt was probably doing Fight Club because that came out the
Yeah.
same year.
and then the Wachowskis wanted Johnny Depp, but other people convinced them, Warner Brothers convinced them to go with Keanu.
Interesting.
Also, I imagine at the time people were like, the guy from Bill and Ted? What the fuck? Like, why? But
So like
It's iconic.
I know that this film was the Wachowskis' second film. They did like a smaller film before this. They're gonna throw a lot of money at this movie, right? If they're gonna do it right, they had to throw a lot of money toward it. So they had to pick a star to be in it. I don't think they were choosing anyone that was right for the role. They're just choosing a star to put in the role. And then they would kind of make the movie around that star, right? So like a Will Smith Matrix would have been a completely different movie than a Keanu Reeves Matrix, or maybe even a
I'll push back on that for one reason. They were so serious about the actors knowing and understanding the plot and exactly what the plot was going to be and why that. But in order for the original actors to be cast in the first Matrix, they had to read 2 books about the Matrix before they could even read the script. Before they were
That's
even
good.
allowed to
I
read
like
the
that.
script,
That's
they
good,
had
yeah.
to read all about like what the world is so they could fully understand and conceptualize it, because they thought that the plot was going to be way too dense for the normal population to enjoy, which is also why in the first Matrix, almost half of Keanu Reeves' lines in the first like 1 or 2 acts of the movie are questions to further to have
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
exposition. Like
Right.
I think it's out of his first 80 lines, like 44 of them are questions to further the exposition.
that makes sense.
Which is
Yeah.
kind of crazy if you rewatch it like with knowing that you're just like he's just constantly like what's this?
Well, honestly,
What about
that's
that?
that's a good tell of good storytelling, because exposition dumps are what people hate the most, because it just feels like you're just like they don't know how to explain the world, so they're just like doing exposition. If the Matrix is like that, and I've seen it a million times, that's just a great way to like they succeeded.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Warner
Because-
Brothers was worried that unless you were following along with Keanu and having everything kind of said exactly like the exposition being kind of exactly perfect along with the role.
Yeah.
But it's like it's kind of crazy that they were able to pull that off without you constantly just being like, this is just a huge exposition dump for like an hour and a half.
He's literally a fish out of water.
Yeah, the whole time.
Literally came out of a water
Yeah,
tank.
it all makes sense.
And then gets pooped out and then picked up. So yeah, he's gonna have a ton of questions, and then we, as the audience, are also gonna have a ton of questions too. So like, I guess maybe that's what kind of like helps the exposition dump. Fuck, I hate saying that word. Exposition
Dump.
Uh,
a little harder after
dump.
Just call it a dump.
Yeah,
They'll know what it's
Expo
about.
dump.
yeah. It helps the dump by
No.
Like and subscribe.
I had one little just dumb note. There was some great cat content in this.
great
movie.
cat content.
Both
Mm-mm.
real cat and robot cat. There was a robot.
Oh yeah,
robot
that
cat? I was like, that's
I kind of saw it as a cat too.
Oh
Not a
yeah,
big-
yeah, yeah,
big
yeah.
I liked
yeah,
I liked the dolphin manta ray one.
the manta ray.
yeah,
the-
I
yeah,
thought it
But it
saw
had,
it as
like,
like
dolphin eyes.
a moth manta ray.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
But I liked the cat, and also the
Deja Vu was the cat's
Deja Vu, the
name.
digital cat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
I liked him.
I mean, they
Or
had
her,
they
I
had to
remember.
bring in that black cat from the first Matrix.
They even used the
What's that?
exact same meow soundbite in
Did
the
they?
trailer
Oh,
as
did
they
they?
did in the original
Nice,
movie. Yeah.
nice.
Love the cat.
It's a good meow.
Little fun fact: the digital rain. Do you guys know where that actually came from?
Oh, this was your fun. Is this a shot bet? Are you gonna do a shot bet?
No, because it's way too specific. That came from a sushi recipe book.
Really?
So they used the English and the Japanese writing.
Uh-huh.
They reversed everything. They mirrored everything because they wanted to feel like it was coming, like you were seeing it from the opposite side that you were
I
supposed
can't tell
to.
if producer likes this or hates it.
And then they like just mishmashed it all up.
Oh, interesting.
And that's still the digital rain.
So it's just a bunch of
It's a
fucking
sushi
gibberish.
recipe book. It's a sushi recipe book gibberished.
I did notice in this
Mirrored
one.
and
I was like, oh,
gibberished.
there's some like
Interesting.
Japanese characters in there. Interesting. I wonder if that was in there before, but apparently
Yeah.
it was.
Oh.
Pretty weird.
Okay. I thought it was just a bunch of numbers and letters just going really quickly.
They
together,
wanted
so
it to
looks
feel
like
that
it's
way, but they
Japanese
were
or
like
something.
they wanted it to also feel like a blend of Western and Eastern culture.
That's
Mhm.
smart.
And
yeah.
they're like, I forget who it was that did it, but they were like, their wife had a sushi recipe book, and they're like, let's just digitally let's put all of these into like a little.
That's both creative and lazy as shit.
No, it is actually kind of lazy. Like I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
They made the digital rain really
Hey,
quickly.
work smarter, not harder. Really.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, for that because
It's iconic.
yeah, that's just true. That's not bad.
All right, I have a shot bet.
Yep, bet.
Yep, bet.
Should we
How
get
many
the-
Oscars?
Okay.
How many Oscars?
How many Oscars? What?
Did the
Just
original?
how many?
Did the original
That's a lot.
Matrix movie win?
Oh.
And
I got one.
and if you
Are
guys
participating
tie,
too?
no, I'm just holding a
He
pen.
Why
knows
did you
it.
reach
He
for
He
that?
knows it.
I know, but he reached for a pen.
I reached for the pen for no reason.
Okay.
And bonus points if you both guess the right number.
Okay.
What were they for?
Oh, shit.
Okay. Well.
So that is not zero.
Okay.
It's not zero. A little hint.
Okay.
Oh, we can do this. Is it A 1,
Okay.
B 2,
Okay.
C 3, or D 4?
Okay. I'm gonna go.
Don't. I thought you were waiting for me.
No, I'm not. I'm gonna go 3.
Ooh, you're both wrong. It was 4.
Ah!
What were they
Pretty
for?
much all for sound and visual.
I was gonna say it was gonna
Yeah,
be visual effects,
visual
and
effects.
Sound editing and visual
I was gonna
effects,
say
yeah.
maybe editing too.
A
That's
lot
why-
of it was. I think 3. I could be wrong. I think
Okay.
3 of them were for sound.
Okay, so what does that mean for the shot bet? You have
That means
to
you both roll the dice and you both take a little shit.
You can roll
Oh, right,
first.
because we got it right. He has to take a shot. I'll do the honest. And I rolled
We got a
4.
4.
What's 4, Emily?
4.
What is it?
4 is dark chocolate banana whiskey.
Ooh,
Oh, I'm fucking down for that.
That sounds good.
Scatterbrain, sponsor us.
Papa needs a shout out to that fucking audience we sat with. Almost ruined the goddamn movie for me. Actually, it probably did ruin the movie for me, like at least for 20 minutes.
Ryan mentioned, he was like, I never see you Hulk out except when people are rude in movies.
It's a huge pet peeve for me. As
No,
well.
it was. I was really irritated
Yeah.
too.
And I seriously, like, if
The-
y'all know
the-
me in real life, I'm the most polite, like, kind of like, oh, whatever. Like, they're going through their own thing. Don't worry about it. But if you talk in a movie, I'm like, shut the fuck up.
If you suck me out of this movie because you're
Swear to
fucking
God.
talking,
Dude, it was the gobstopper box for me. I was
the
like,
gobstopper box, man.
I
I was ready to fight
done.
a motherfucker.
I was about ready to fight when, like, the first thing she said was like, I'm confused. I'm like, bitch, the movie just started.
There hasn't
We're
even-
all
there
confused.
hasn't even
Shut
been
up.
anything yet.
Yeah.
All right, last little fun fact while you guys take these shots. Apparently, the very first Matrix movie came out to DVD when like DVDs were pretty new. But the popularity of the Matrix and the quality that DVD brought mixed with how epic the Matrix is
Right.
helped popularize DVDs.
That makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense because you want to see this in the best
Right.
quality you can at
yeah.
home.
You feel
People were
futuristic
like,
while
I don't
watching
know,
it.
it's a disc? I don't know. And I was like, it's the Matrix. It looks better on this. And they're
Right.
like,
Yeah.
okay.
It's funny, like
You don't have to rewind it. That was the craziest shit.
yeah,
You can skip to different scenes?
dude.
There's
it's,
a menu?
It's funny to think that like DVDs are like 4800p or 48.
480.
480.
40.
They're 480.
Right in
like-
the middle of 48 and 4800.
They're not quite 720.
They carry the
Yeah,
one.
yeah. They're in 480, but if you like go on YouTube and if you watch this show in 480, it probably looks like shit.
It's
But,
like the default on my phone. I always I'm like, no.
Yeah. But it's funny, like it was so crisp and crazy back
I
then.
know,
I
you're
mean,
like, at least it's not a VHS.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. VHS was fucking.
It's not like in the middle of the movie.
The tracking.
Yeah.
I kind of miss
If
the
you
tracking.
rewound it too many times, it's like,
Yeah, yeah. Dude, my Star Wars VHSs were fucking garbage by the end. Just like, what's that?
All right, this isn't a shot bet, but there's three main influences for the Matrix: The Lost City, Alice in Wonderland. Those two are pretty well known. There's also another one that they borrowed a lot from for the concept of the Matrix. Do you
What's
know what
that?
it is?
It's probably an anime.
It's an old book. It's by Harlan Ellison, and it was called "I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream."
Okay.
And in that book,
I hate that sentence.
well,
really
that's
hate
where
that
the,
sentence.
the scene in
Yeah,
the Matrix
yeah.
1 where his mouth is closed and he's trying to
Blah.
scream.
Hate that
Oh.
part.
But also the concept of that, I don't know the whole concept of the book, but I know one major part of it is that AI kind of takes over the world, pretty much extinguishes the human race, except they keep a lot of them underground in like little like holding tanks.
Oh.
So Matrix borrowed a lot from that book.
Yeah, I mean, art borrows from other art.
Yeah,
You know,
all
I
the
mean,
time,
artists.
always.
That's just
Yeah.
what artists do. You know, like it's kind of just like technology. You borrow from other people's ideas to make
Yeah.
something better.
Star Wars couldn't have existed without Dune.
No, definitely not.
Watch our Dune review.
Watch our Dune review. Hear us talk shit about that.
Very true.
That's it for me.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
I had one more note, just a tiny little sentence before we go
What's
into
that?
watermelon boats. How fucking refreshing to see an age-appropriate love story in a fucking action movie, because I feel like any other action movie, it'd be Keanu Reeves and like a 25-year-old girl.
Right.
So seeing Carrie Ann Moss, I'm like, oh, they actually look like a real couple. This is so
Yeah.
fucking refreshing. This is nice.
No, I agree with that. Jada Pinkett Smith being like aged up a lot.
Yeah.
That was cute to see, but you know, she kept referencing how old she was. I'm like,
That
girl,
bugged me. There was
Girl.
one too many references
Yeah.
to how old she was.
I'm like, you're
No,
still hot as
every
hell.
time she was on camera,
We
she kept
know
saying
it.
how
Half of her
old she
lines.
was.
Half
She
of
was
her
like,
lines were
well,
like,
getting old is tough. Well, I'm old now.
Don't tell me that I'm
Like,
old.
Jada,
It's like,
don't.
Yeah.
Also, do you
You don't
think Will
care.
Smith is jealous that Jada is in the Matrix universe and he's not?
Well, yeah.
oh, wow, I didn't even think about that.
Well, it's funny. Aaliyah was cast in this role before Jada Pinkett Smith, and then when she died, she actually filmed a lot of scenes right before a plane crash, and
Oh,
then
wow.
Jada had
Man.
to take on the role
Mhm.
and reload
Really
it.
bringing the show down.
Jesus Christ.
You know, it was around 9/11 too. It was around 2001.
God damn it.
Seriously, I think it was September.
I did think about that.
2001.
Where
Also, I'm pretty sure my grandma died around the same time.
I'm serious. I think Aaliyah died in
Dude,
like.
I got in a car accident, I think, like a week before this.
I think
I
Aaliyah
have a-
died
Came out.
September 7th, and then like
Oh,
her
wow.
death was overshadowed by I think something big happened.
something big
around there.
happened. I don't know.
Something, yeah.
Oh my god.
9/11.
Like and subscribe.
Watermelon boats.
Yeah, watermelon boats.
All right,
Let's
watermelon
go.
boats. What do you guys think?
Ooh. I'm gonna go 7 watermelon boats.
Yeah, I was gonna say 7. I know that I rated Eternals 7. I rated Eternals a little too high, so this is also 7. Yeah. I'm not gonna rescind my vote though.
This might be. I don't know if this will be the only time this ever happens, but I'm going 7. We're tying on watermelon.
If we were a
boats.
slot machine, we'd win a bunch of money.
Oh.
Ding, 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 ding. Nice. Vegas on the brain.
Before we dive into the movie, can we give our audience a little?
I know exactly where you're going with this one.
Okay.
The PSA.
So
a big old PSA.
Big old PSA. So I know our audience, y'all would never do this, and y'all are good moviegoers and everything. But
Good job, guys.
We trust you.
today's screening was just a reminder that not everybody has movie theater etiquette. And maybe, it's been COVID. We've been inside for a while. You've been watching things on HBO Max and, Netflix and whatnot. But when you go to the theater,
You're not on your couch in the living room.
shut the fuck up.
Okay.
We had
Jesus fucking Christ.
Brent was sitting a couple rows behind us, but Nico, Ryan, and I were sitting, and there was this couple right behind us. And Ryan had said that during the trailers they were talking a little bit, and then during the movie, it's like the first fucking scene, and she just goes, "I'm confused,"
Dude.
literally that loud. And I gave her a couple like, shh,
Yeah.
shh, be quiet.
And then she did it again.
She did it again.
And then
got another.
I fully turned around and looked at her in the face. Like, can you not?
Yeah.
That kind of look. She looked right at me.
Yep.
And then
and
proceeded to keep talking.
The next time I went, "Please stop talking," and then got quiet for a while, and then she did it again.
I was like, that's gonna be enough. I remember
Surely,
thinking that. Like,
surely.
I'm like, thank you, Emily.
And then she did it another time. So I whipped around to her, and like she and her boyfriend were like, "I can't see you. I'm not gonna look." And I was like, "No, you look at me.
Yeah,
Look at
Emily
me.
was like,
Stop fucking talking. It's
yeah, Emily
really
was like,
loud
down
and
here,
distracting.
Look at me.
Like, look at me. Look at me.
You're talking too loud.
Shut up.
Shut up. And it was a quiet scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then right after that, some Australian guy was yelling at a kid for being on the
It was
phone.
So
a
that
kid-
guy was right next to me.
Oh, okay.
That guy was one seat away from me. He leans down and goes, "Put your fucking phone away." And I was like, "What the fuck?" And I'm like, I'm sitting directly down from the
God.
whoever was holding
The
the phone.
kid he was yelling at was sitting right next to Ryan.
Our
I didn't
theater
even-
was a
I didn't
shit
even see the-
show.
I didn't even see the light from the phone at all.
Yeah. Okay, he was pulling it out. Yeah. He was checking his watch and checking his phone.
Oh, thank you for translating. I was
Yeah,
like, oh yeah,
yeah,
Ryan's
yeah.
not
He
getting
doesn't
picked
have
up
a
by the mic.
So
And then
Hold on,
another
I have my own from my perspective too,
Okay,
from my
okay.
seats. But go ahead.
one more little hint, little tip from old M here. Open your fucking candy before the movie starts.
Oh.
That was on purpose. That was on purpose.
Oh yeah, that was after.
Was it the same people?
It
it
was
was.
the same people.
Then they were doing that
Right.
to
They
get
were
back
being
at you.
passive
100%.
aggressive.
It was passive
They
aggressive
were
because it was after Emily
crinkling all
called
of
them
their
out.
all of their plastic. I don't have any plastic around me. Just crinkle, and then
And
like
their
a fucking
gobstopper box.
maraca the whole
they were
time.
Gobstopper box.
I was
Take
like,
one out.
there's no reason.
And it was like right in our ear. So
I
they
almost
were
said
being
something about that.
You should have.
'cause I was like-
should have.
I was so far away from it, but I was like, someone's gonna say something.
I was so close to just standing up and grabbing that shit out of his hand.
Dumping it all over their lap.
Yes.
I kind of couldn't.
But I'm
believe it.
like, man, if I would have done that, if I actually would have done that, Ryan would have had to back me up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ryan would have decked him.
I'm like, I'm glad Ryan's here because if I do that, I got someone to back me up because I know he's pissed off too.
The-
So
Okay, I got bad vibes immediately after I sat down because the dude I was sitting next to, every trailer that popped up, the dude audibly complained the second whatever scene started. So like Harry Potter trailer starts, he's like, "Oh my god, another Harry Potter! What the fuck?" And then right after that, there's a scene for
what a terrible
Batman
theater we had.
where like
it's never this bad.
the first scene of the Batman trailer is like army people walking in with guns.
Yeah.
He's like, "Ugh, another army thing," and I was like,
Shut
Another
up.
army
"What the hell?
thing?
Like, what is your problem?"
Get out of the fucking movie. You're watching The Matrix,
Yeah.
bro. Do you know how many armies are going to be in this fucking movie?
If
All
you, don't
the
like
armies.
if you don't like guns, you're gonna hate
Oh,
this
yeah,
film.
yeah.
And
God.
after the Australian guy yelled at that kid, the lady sitting to my right, to echo your point earlier, goes, "Some people have been inside way too long." I was like, right?
Yeah, I mean, I really
Bad
want theaters
vibes in
to
that
survive. I really want like theaters to thrive and everything. But you people, Stay the fuck home.
You know,
This movie is on HBO Max. If you were gonna be like that, just sit the fuck at home. Stay out of my theater.
I'm
theater
never
vibes.
going to a packed 3 p.m. showing of any movie ever again. I swear to God,
yeah,
it's
you are.
well, I'm 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock when people maybe they have dinner, maybe they have a couple drinks. They're a little more mellow and like not as fucking annoying.
Jesus
Also,
Christ.
I miss
I
the
don't know.
sound of. We usually watch in Dolby, and this time we watched in IMAX.
Not the
I miss
same.
the sound of Dolby because it kind of muffles all the dumb people eating their popcorn.
We're
Yeah,
also
you're right.
we're also normally in row C in the Dolby, so there's nobody immediately behind
That's the
us.
thing.
And
This is a
mostly
sm-
there's
a
more people in
closer
front
up
of us.
theater.
One of the benefits of the C-section is, you're not in the crowd of a lot of people. You're by yourself.
You
C-section.
just cut yourself into your own little area.
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
theater.
A nice
Quick and
slice of
stabby.
heaven. Yeah.
Ryan at one point he was shuffling around. I was like, "Does your back hurt?" He's like, "No, it's just these peasant seats. I don't like because they don't recline like the
Jesus.
Dolby ones."
Yeah,
All
we-
right, let's get
We
to
should
the
probably talk about the Matrix at some
We
point.
should probably talk about the Matrix. I doubt most of that is going to make it into the final cut of the.
We should leave it. It's fine.
Leave it.
All right.
People know what this is at this
Okay.
point.
Yeah.
Well, thanks guys. Thanks for watching
Thanks,
another
everybody.
episode.
We'll
like
see
and
you
subscribe.
next
See
week.
you
What's
next
our next thing?
Well, we're taking a Christmas break.
Are we?
No, this is Christmas, right? This is our Christmas week.
Oh, we're not taking a Christmas break. What are we watching next week?
I don't know.
What comes out next week?
Producer
Leave us a
hates
comment.
us.
Yeah.
Leave us a comment about what we should review a week from today.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.